Terraria. This 2011 action-adventure sandbox game by Relogic features exploration, mining, crafting, building, and combat that blend beautifully into one of the best indie games of the last decade. Terraria excels in many categories, the most impressive being how it handles player progression, keeping the player's power balanced through every stage of the game. When you first load into a fresh world of Terraria, you're immediately going to see slimes approaching to attack you. The first sign that this world will not pull any punches, even during the day. Near you is the Guide, an NPC that can give you some helpful tips of what to do next, and tell you what you can craft with each item. As you chop your first trees and make wooden armor, you may start to feel adventurous and explore the world a bit. As soon as you walk into the desert, it's clear that you are not ready to be there, and you'll likely learn this lesson the hard way. As exploration clearly isn't an option, there's nowhere to go but down, and you start mining, searching through caves, finding loot and ores, maybe even a few life crystals. You make stronger weapons and armor from the metals you found, and you head back to the desert, determined to win this time. And you do. Barely. Feeling accomplished, you go home as night falls when you see a message appear. You feel an evil presence watching you. The Eye of Cthulhu has appeared, and you get your ass handed to you. You're not strong enough yet. The next step is to improve your weapons and armor, as each world has 4 metal tiers to progress through. The best tier you can get is gold or platinum, depending on which one was generated upon creation of the world. Using your upgrades, you can defeat the Eye, and it drops a new, better ore that was previously unattainable, allowing you to replace some of your old weapons and tools with new ones. The next challenge awaits you inside the evil biome of your world, which is either the Crimson or the Corruption, in the respective forms of the... To summon either of these bosses, you must break orbs, which drop powerful weapons and accessories. Or you can use their summon items, but you should really break the orbs, at least the first time. After breaking 3 orbs, the boss will spawn. The bosses, as well as the Brain's minions, will drop both the same ore that the Eye dropped, and either tissue samples or shadow scales, used to make the Crimson or Shadow armor, perfect for melee, giving you higher survivability, as well as a new pickaxe, one that can mine meteorite, a useful ore for magic users that's found in giant clumps after an orb is broken. Careful, it burns. Upon having beaten the first 2 bosses, it's time to move on to the third boss. Skeletron is the guardian of the mysterious dungeon. Once it's nighttime, just go up to the old man and curse him out. You'd better hope you can defeat him by daytime though, as once it hits dawn, this guy will one-hit KO you to oblivion. Defeating Skeletron doesn't directly give you new resources to progress, but it does allow you to enter the dungeon and gather accessories and weapons only available on the other side of spikes. This place is brutal, and you'll die easily within these stone walls, perfectly making you feel like a little weakling again, even in your new fancy armor you've gotten. Inside the dungeon, you can get this dope-looking Necro armor from bones and cobwebs that helps all you ranged attackers. At this point, you've done everything that you needed to, and it's time for... Now, it warrants mention that any time from the creation of the world to now, you've had the chance to fight 2 optional bosses, King Slime and Queen Bee. King Slime is summoned in a few ways. You can destroy enough slimes during a slime rain event, you can create a slime crown, or occasionally you can just kind of walk a bit too far. What the heck, dude? Queen Bee is more limited in her spawning, and for good reason, as you'll likely find her more difficult than the king. Deep in the underground jungle, you'll find these big hive things, which contain some sexy honey, and the queen bee larva, which if you so much as breathe a little too close to, Queen Bee will appear, and she'll be pissed. You can also make an item called an Abeemination to summon her, but it can also only be used in the jungle. Now that you've defeated all the other bosses, there's 2 things you can do before your final challenge. Fight a goblin army, an event that can occur upon getting 160 health, and explore Hell, gathering some of the best weapons available for each class. The goblin army being defeated allows you to find the Goblin Tinkerer, who sells the Tinkerer's Workshop, an amazing crafting station that can combine certain accessories into better ones, Oh, and he also sells boots that lets you fly for a little bit, so that's super cool. In Hell, you can mine Hellstone to get some powerful melee armor and a dope pickaxe. And you can use the Shadow Key from the dungeon to get super powerful weapons. Wow, so powerful! This is the time in the playthrough to look back at all you've accomplished and how far you've come. Fighting the Eye at this point is laughable, easily defeating him in half a minute at most. Easily breezing through the enemies that you thought were hard before makes you feel powerful, giving you a sensation of your own progression. But all must come to an end, and at this point, you've done everything, so now it's time for the final boss, the Wall of Flesh is a huge wall of fleshy grossness, with 2 eyes and a mouth, that moves steadily across the entirety of Hell. This is the challenge you've been preparing for. It's all been leading to this. The only way to summon this guy is by killing a voodoo demon. A demon carrying a voodoo doll. Casting this doll into lava will kill the guide that's been with you since the very beginning. You are a terrible person. Sacrificing the guide spawns the wall, and the fight begins. Minutes of panic and lucky jumps since you didn't make the bridge long enough, and you've done it. You've killed the Wall of Flesh. Except then you see, the ancient spirits of light and dark have been released. That's right, this wasn't the final boss. You've only just entered. As soon as you go back to your house, you know that you made a mistake. In hard mode, you're just as squishy now as you were when you first spawned. Moving to hard mode is essentially the world's reset button on progression. Those dope weapons you got? Basically garbage. No other game that I can think of takes such a drastic step in scaling difficulty to maintain a progression, and that's to the detriment of those games. But as much as you've accomplished and improved so far in Terraria, this is only about the halfway point of the progression in this game, and this video is already long enough. Let me know if you want to see a part 2 covering hard mode, and I'll strap on my big boy shoes and fight those harder enemies. I really enjoyed making this, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Until next time, bees!